Checkity check. That music is gonna be real rough through this whole podcast. You guys ready for that?
Maybe.
Definitely.
All right.
I need to get a Zelda hat.
Apparently, yeah. All right. Welcome to the A4NB4Y podcast, where we go chapter by chapter through the game. This week, we are covering the Recovered Memories quest, or the Lost Memories quest. We've recovered them all, and we are going to go through them tonight, movie night style. And we're going to just kind of talk over the tracks, talk over the videos, talk to each other about what we remember, and just kind of go through what is the primary mode of telling the story of this game. All of the backstory is hidden in this memory quest, and we will be covering it piece by piece. I am Ryan Fonzie, and I am a lost memory. And with me, as always, are my co-hosts.
I'm Anthony, and I am currently, as we speak, sleepwalking.
Okay.
I'm Cameron Hagee, and I'm making Harry Potter references about memories.
Wow. Okay.
Reference.
Put it in the septum, bro. I don't even remember what they called that thing.
Nah, me neither.
The
I just
bowl.
remember that it was silver.
The bowl. You ready to look into the bowl, bro?
Stare deeply into the cereal bowl.
It's memory charms. Don't eat those.
All right, cool. So you guys wanting to jump right into this? I think. Okay, so just real quick recap. When you start this game, when Link meets Impa, he's sent on a quest to go to Hateno and back, where he's able to trigger this quest where Link is going to find his lost memories because he woke up with amnesia after 100 years. So we are going to be skipping over memories we've already talked about just because we've gone through the game, the chapters. So things like meeting Rivali for the first time, we're not going to put in here. Also, anything that's in the DLC, also not going to be covered. We're going to talk about that when we talk about the DLC. So this is just the 12 memories that are actually included in the Recovered Memories quest itself. Just to avoid repeating all the same information over and over again throughout our season. So yeah, we will switch on over to our memory view.
Ooh, the memory view.
I know.
We're official.
It's fancy.
Bring out the bowl.
Here we go. The memory view. And we will get started. You guys ready?
There we go.
This transition will hopefully go faster the more we do it throughout this podcast.
Hero of Hyrule, chosen by the sword that seals the darkness. You have shown unflinching bravery and skill in the face of darkness and adversity, and have proven yourself worthy of the blessings of the goddess Hylia.
She seems so bored.
Whether skyward bound,
Or
adrift
like
in time, or steeped in the glowing embers of
unconvinced.
twilight, the sacred blade is forever bound to the soul of the hero. We pray for your protection, and we hope that the two of you will grow stronger together as one. Forged in the long distant past.
Do you think she's trying to
Gee,
remember
this
it?
is uplifting. She's making it sound like we already lost.
Like it's scripted?
Wasn't
Like
this
she's-
your idea? You're the one who wanted to designate the appointed night with all the ceremonial pomp, grandeur, and nonsense we could muster.
When we need the
And
Good
if you
old
ask
Rivali.
me, the whole thing does seem to be overkill. I think I'm
Well,
on the
if it was
same
about you,
page as
you'd
the
love it.
princess regarding this boy.
If it was him, he
give it
would
a
love it. Yeah.
rest. That boy is a living reminder of her own failures. Well, at least that's how the princess sees him.
That's rough.
Dang, Link, you not wanted.
It's kind of messed up.
Yeah, she'll get over it.
She definitely does.
Oh, on camera. Here we go. This is the magic of transitioning every time. All right. So immediately we're off to a bad start, right?
Terrible.
They're going through this ceremony. I mean, it's the name of the memory is literally Subdued Ceremony, and it seems like she's trying to recite some scripted thing, and her heart is clearly not in it. And I honestly wonder if the reaction from the other champions would have been different had, you know, her speech sounded different. But I don't know. It just seems like nobody here is convinced that any of this is going to work. What are your guys' takes?
She's trying to convince herself through her own words, and they can all pick up on that. Except Link. He seems completely oblivious, but I mean, that's Link, so...
He's like, I'm here to do my duty, so that's what I'm going to do. It doesn't really matter how you sound.
He's like, praise. Praise from the princess.
Yeah. I think the other champions, aside from Revali, know full well Link is capable. And kind of like how Daruk said, like, do we really need this ceremony?
Right.
Like, we know he can do this. Like, why are we here? Well, Revali kind of said that, but yeah, that's kind of the mood.
Yeah.
Why is this happening?
I think Urbosa's comment is particularly interesting too, about how like Link is a living reminder of her own failures, and like how that is somehow the reason that this ceremony is going as poorly as it is. Like, it's not because she's rehearsing something that she doesn't really care about. It's like her head is in a completely different place. It's like she's just looking at the night in front of her that she's actually referring to, and she's like, yeah, this is like the worst.
You could definitely tell her mind is in a different place because she can't even hear the other champions talking smack about her. They're like 5 feet from her.
They're all
She didn't
like,
hear
what's the
Roberta's
point?
comment.
Did Mifa even say anything?
No.
Did Mifa even, like, was she there? I think she has the same intro as Anthony. She's just sleepwalking.
Yeah.
She's just there.
She's staring just at Link, just...
I wish I could have my hand outstretched to Link.
All right. So then the next one that we're coming up with is called Resolve and Grief. So I think it's the second one that we haven't actually seen already.
Grief.
I know. Everything is kind of...
What are we, the 5 stages of denial?
Good grief.
All right. So
And bad grief.
let me swap on over to our super special viewing mode. And we will roll the clip once the camera turns back on. All right.
Roll the clip.
Roll the clip.
From here, we'll make our way to Goron City. Then, we'll need some adjustments on that divine beast so Daruk can manage it as easily as possible.
Okay.
He's figured out how to get it to move. However, it's apparent that we still have much more to learn. But to think that divine beast was actually built by people. That means we should be able to understand how it works and how to use it to our advantage.
Very logical.
These divine beasts. So much we don't know. But if we want to turn back Calamity Ganon, they're our best hope.
Okay. Sudden sadness strikes again.
Tell me the truth. How proficient are you right now wielding that sword on your back? Legend says that an ancient voice resonates inside it. Can you hear it yet, hero?
Oof.
Okay. Now,
Do
see,
you dare question me, princess?
I feel like the answer should be yes. You know?
The sword wouldn't even have the sword would not be on his back right now if it already hadn't made his mind up.
Well, okay, yeah. It just, to me, it seems like she's being very like, all right, A equals B, B equals C. Like, as long as we approach C, we should have an advantage, you know. And then she just stops, gets super sad, and is like, "How are you doing with that sword?" And I'm like, according to everything that we've learned, when at the time that this memory was happening, Link was pretty beast with that sword.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, hearing the voice, I mean that's a huge like Fee reference, right? But
Yeah, I want to hear Link just talk and be like, yeah, actually I do. It says keep walking. Like, come on. She's all, it's made by man. It's going to be our biggest help against Calamity. Hey, can you even hear that sword on your back? Just like gets so like daggers out of nowhere. And
It's-
right at Link. And he's just walking behind her, protecting her.
It's
It's like, why you gotta be
how-
so angry?
on the
Yeah,
other,
it's like how Fawn said, it's her boss's comment, you know?
Yeah.
She's not accepting herself, so she's taking it out on...
That's why I want to hear Link return some of that passive aggression and be like, just keep walking. Worry about yourself, girl.
yeah, I mean, I think that you guys bring up a good point in that, like, if he's a reminder of her own failures, we're gonna find out in some of these memories coming up that her failures, a lot of it has to do with her connection with Hylia. A lot of it has to do with her like struggling with her role as like this what do you call it, this vessel or this, you know, I don't know, medium, right? So maybe like her comment is basically her just projecting and being like, can you even hear the voice? Because I can't hear the voice I'm supposed to be hearing, you know, like almost kind of throwing that at him. Like, yeah, maybe you're really good with that sword, but like, are you actually fulfilling the spiritual side of things as well? You know, I don't know. That's just some thoughts.
Yeah.
Poor Link is the verbal punching bag in this.
A little, yeah, absolutely. It's not great. All right, so the next one, we're skipping over Daruk's Medal because we already talked about that one. And then we have Zelda's Resentment. So we're just exploring this even further.
She's not having a good time, right?
Memory 5 here. So let me go ahead and roll that clip, as they say in the biz. Let me switch on over to this. And roll it.
Nothing. Just as I thought. It appears that this structure was designed to be exclusively accessed by the sword's chosen one. But designs can always be worked around. At least I hope.
This
How
frustrates
do I get
me.
inside? I need
so
to activate
much.
it somehow.
Because she knows who the chosen one's supposed to be. And yet this is, watch how she treats this.
She gets mad when he gets here.
I thought I made it clear that I'm not in need of an escort. It seems I'm the only one with a mind of my own. I, the person in question, am fine, regardless of the king's orders.
His poker face, though.
Return to the castle and tell that to my father, please.
And then he just keeps following.
Lost puppy mode activate.
And stop following me!
The sass.
Right? Like, why you gotta be so rude, though?
So like, she says, oh, only the Lord's chosen one can activate this shrine, most likely. So if I just give Link this tablet, he could probably activate the shrine and we can find more secrets. Seize Link.
You ain't never touching this shrine, fun. Never.
Right. Like, oh yeah, we can definitely get into that. I mean, that's at the ancient pillars too. Like all the shrines like popped up out of the ground, right? Were they all activated at the beginning of the game? Like these things weren't all available back then. So she's at this one shrine that's still sticking out of the ground. And she's like, oh, it says the ancient hero could access it, but I'm going to try to work around that instead of just handing the tablet to this dude who just showed up. Like, why? If you want to see the inside, just this was your chance. Just give it to him, have him open it. Both y'all go inside. But no, she's too angry at the fact of Link's existence to even consider that. Like, she's just like, I want to do this on my own. It's not really how if you're supposed to be working with a team to defeat Ganon, why are you doing this? It's just the emotions are definitely taking over here.
And it's already assumed in this that she snuck away from the castle and she snuck away from Link, which is why she's so angry that he shows up because, that's her escort. And she's like, I don't need you. That's why I left. Like, all on my own. Nobody, that's why I'm here. Like, go away. So she's already just, without even the video showing you, without the memory even showing you what's happening, she's already like kind of went off on her own when she really wasn't probably supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I'm trying to remember how the character, I think in this game they're supposed to all be aged around 16 or 17. Because I think she turned 17 right before the Calamity strikes. I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to have this whole like memory quest be a bashing session for Zelda, but at the same time, like these first few memories are making it really hard to like enjoy her character. Like you kind of watch this and you're like, everything is just angry, sad, or in between. Like just everything. And the only hint that there's something there to be, I don't know, compassionate about, or be, I guess, what's the word, sympathetic about, is still that comment from Urbosa about how like she's just constantly reminded of failure,
Yeah.
But I
think it's fine to just kind of see her as like the petulant person that she's being a little bit right now, because I would harken back to one of the best characters in all of Zelda, Groose. Starts out as just this insufferable guy, but you want to know what that insufferableness actually means? It means that there's that much more room for character development and for growth to become like a really good character that you can relate to. So she's right now in the, oh my gosh, this chick? This? Really? But that's because she's going to work up to be who she ultimately ends up at the end of the game, which is like Zelda.
Yeah. And I think, we're going to definitely see some development. Unfortunately, I mean, we know that this is a tragic story based on on the fact that we have to wake up 100 years later. So it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So just buckle in, I guess. The next one on this list is actually Urbosa's hand, which is when Link goes to visit them at the Divine Beast. Again, we've already talked about that memory. So we're going to go over to Blades of the Yiga.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and swipe on over and we can play that footage. You know how this works. Hold on, just making sure
used to it.
My viewer's up the way it needs to be. Making sure. All right, roll the clip. Link just killed a man.
I don't know if he killed him.
You should probably lay low for a while.
So many thoughts. So that was awfully short. Hold on. Always gotta switch back to my other.
Well, out of the memories we've seen so far, this is the first one where Zelda sees Link, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that it's kind of pointing out is just like why he was assigned this position in the first place, right? Like, I know that in the future we're gonna hear. I mean, like we know from the scene with Urbosa before that she's been coming to the desert to kind of get away from everything, and that includes Link once again. Like, he's been going to the desert, into Gerudo City, stuff like that, just to try to get away and be alone. And this is a situation where that want to be alone put her in very real danger. And then the fact that Link kind of comes out and just does the hero thing. I think for her, it's just realizing, okay, this is necessary regardless of how it makes me feel. You know, like, as much as he is this reminder, also, like, aside from that, like, this is a necessity. This is like a real, like, he's actually very capable. You know,
It's his germ.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a short thing. I don't have a ton to say. I'm just wondering, like, what's going through her mind when she sees that, because she's like, you know, inches from being sliced to pieces with a bunch of, yeah, right. Like, they were like, why they have a 3-point attack going on? Chased her down the middle of the desert and everything.
Coordinated, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The one you get that backed up, that was young Koga.
young Koga. Because he straight up, he just destroyed one and the other two ran away, right?
That's before he became the gym leader in Fuchsia City, right?
Way before that time. Now I'm just imagining Koga in Pokemon having a conversation with you about how he left the clan. They chased me down.
That's where the
killed
well
family.
goes.
What?
The well that he gets knocked down at, it leads to the Pokemon world, and he becomes a gym leader.
Falls straight into Kanto, man.
Confirmed.
All right, cool. So the next one, we're gonna start seeing Zelda and Link working together a little bit more, in a way that's not resentful. We're starting to see some growth here. So it's called a premonition, and I will.
Even if it's just a millimeter of growth, we have it.
Yeah. Ready? We're gonna roll that footage.
This is one of my favorites.
It's crazy. It's a craziness. Starts out real.
That cut doesn't look too bad, actually. You're fine for now. But you know, there's a fine line between courage and recklessness. As brave as you are, that does not make you immortal. It seems that not only is the frequency of these types of attacks on the rise, but the scale of beasts we are facing is intensifying as well. I fear that this is an omen which portends the return of Calamity Ganon. And if that's the case, I'm ready to expect the worst. We'll need to make preparations as soon as possible.
Alright, so why his Master Sword not running out of energy, though?
Because he got that level 60, though.
Wow.
Don't matter.
He went through the sword trials.
It's like 4 silver Lionels on the ground right there. That's crazy.
Yeah. Link has no fear.
Yeah, my dude had like
Calamity Link.
a little scratch on his hand, and Zelda's like, "Oh, that wound's not too bad." And Link's like, "Are you kidding me?" It's just down.
Do you see these guys?
4 Lionels.
He did the boomerang
Say it's
trick
pretty good.
with the Master Sword.
No, I mean, what stands out to me, I mean, aside from the field of bokoblins and Lionels and just all manner of dead minions, the voice. I mean, Zelda is talking about everything that's happening, and I mean, aside from, you know, telling him not to be reckless, she's talking about how the attacks are growing and whatnot. But it's the most genuine that I think that we've heard Zelda speak so far. Because like even before, like either it was like this sad thing, this anger thing, or the best we got was like this super calculated, like, okay, we do this, we do this, we do this, and we should be in a good spot. Like very, very strategic planning kind of voice. Like it wasn't. It's like she was thinking out loud about like an equation. It wasn't really her just talking to somebody.
It was the first time she actually believed in what she was saying.
Yeah, she wasn't. There was no mask in this scene. Like there was nothing. There was nothing in the way of just like her actual character here. raw emotion. I think raw emotion probably describes a few of the other scenes a little better, but yeah, no, I mean, I think
good controlled emotion, not being controlled by her emotions.
Yeah, I mean, she's not using her sad voice, she's not using her angry voice, she's just using her voice, and it, I don't know, like it actually kind of stands out, even to me, almost as much as all these monsters dead on the ground. Like, like there's clearly like they're clearly trying to show you just how strong Link used to be in this scene as well.
Mm-hmm.
And to like it almost gives you hope, like that maybe they could have won this war. You know, based on what you're seeing, it's like, oh my goodness, maybe they have everything they need.
Well, you know, if it wasn't for those divine beasts that are going to be so much help, and it wasn't for those guardians that were so much help, then maybe they could have won the war. Because those things didn't really end up helping much. Except, I mean, they helped Ganon a lot.
Right.
A lot.
Yeah, and we'll get to all that too. So this next one is called Silent Princess.
Best flower in the game.
Kind of a cool best flower in the game. All right, let me swap on over so we can roll that footage. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that like 12 times at least. So just be warned. I give you the warning now that we're on like our 5th or 6th memory. All right. Anyway, view. Ooh, I like that music.
Oh, and another. The flowers we have in Hyrule aren't just beautiful. They are also quite useful as ingredients for a variety of things. This one here is called the Silent Princess. It's a rare, endangered species. Despite our efforts, we can't get them to grow domestically yet. The princess can only thrive out here, in the wild. All that we can hope is that the species will be strong enough to prosper on its own. Is that what I think it is? Look at this. I don't believe it, but I actually caught one. This delicacy is known to have very, very potent effects under the proper circumstances. Ta-da! Research from the castle shows ingesting one of these can actually augment certain abilities. We wouldn't be in a controlled environment out here, but with your level of physical fitness, you'd be a perfect candidate for the study. Go on. Taste it.
That was the first word that Link has spoken.
She's getting a little froggy over here.
The first word that Link has spoken, you said?
Yeah, he went.
It's the first noise he's made.
Okay. Hilarious.
She's like, she's definitely projecting herself onto the flower a little bit, or kind of like using the flower to symbolize herself in her own thoughts, where she wants to be able to break away from Link and needing him to always be around and to supervise her, to protect her. She wants to be able to go out on her own. She wants to come into her own and be her own person. And she uses the flower to kind of be like, that's me.
Yeah.
I also think she was probably referencing her home as well, like at the castle. Like I know in some of the earlier cutscenes, her father is very controlling and like very systematic, and you know, we have to do this in this procedure, and I think she's just like, I want to be out here where the wild things grow.
Yeah, it's definitely it definitely, I mean, she goes through the whole thing. I mean, I think like it absolutely is a very obvious metaphor for her character in the game. I mean, like even in the beginning she was trying to get away, and it was kind of for this, like she's at a point where she's trying to rebel against this whole like, I need to be at the castle all the time, I need to be researching, I need to be, you know, doing some spiritual training. I need to be out in the wild, right? Like I need to be out here on my own, learning things on my own and what have you.
I can't be domesticated.
And it's funny because Link is actually part of the key to that whole process. Like what we learned when she was out in the desert getting chased by the Yiga, like the fact that she's able, like once she starts working with him rather than against him, he is providing like that level of I don't know, like she's able to. You say security?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely providing a level of security. I was trying to think of a different word to describe. Like,
I think he's providing a level of freedom for her.
Yeah.
Like she has the ability to be free out in Hyrule while having him as protection, and so like she can do the research she wants to.
Yeah.
Without the threat of like
telling him to lick frogs.
Yeah. And from what we understand about like Link's character, he in no way ever tries to like tell Zelda what she needs to do or anything. Like, you know, he's just always just.
He can't.
No, that's not his job. That's not his role. Like he's just there to and I know the joke that you just made, but what I'm saying is like he's just there as an observer most of the time. Like unless something's happening, like he's just following along and letting her learn and grow and do whatever she wants, you know. So he's literally just there to keep the worst parts, keep the dangers away, you know. So that's kind of cool. And you can definitely see that she is able to thrive. I mean, like it immediately jumps over into this scene with the frog, this tireless frog, right? I don't even know if that
where she lets her nerd come out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and she's so happy that they found it, and she's like, "Here, eat this,
taste it,
just eat it live."
Scuttle.
Yikes! But it's funny, it's humorous.
I've seen enough Futurama to know where this is going. Hypnotoad.
All right. All right, so after this is the Mipha's touch memory, which again we've seen. This is
Fonzie here.
What's up?
Your lights are looking a little hypnotoady right now in the reflection.
Oh
of your
my,
glasses.
yeah.
All
right. So yeah, Mipha's touch we've already gone over. That was in one of our first Divine Beasts. You know, clearly we did the Divine Beasts in the wrong order according to these memories, but that's okay. Yeah. And then after that is called Shelter from the Storm, which I think is going to be our next guy. And this one, you'll see a little more vulnerability come on out as well. So let me go ahead and roll that footage.
I doubt this will let up anytime soon. Your path seems to mirror your father's. You've dedicated yourself to becoming a knight as well. Your commitment to the training necessary to fulfill your goal is really quite admirable. I see now why you would be the chosen one. What if one day you realized
was that
you just
emotion?
weren't meant to be a fighter? Yet the only thing people ever said was that you were born into a family of the royal guard, and so no matter what you thought, you had to become a knight. If that was the only thing you were ever told, I wonder then, would you have chosen a different path?
Don't know. So got some time for self-reflection, shelter of the storm. Sorry, when I said in the middle of that, like, was that emotion? It was funny because when she starts asking him a question, it's like the only expression we've really seen where he's like talking to me, like he like turned around, like he was kind of surprised that she would be like addressing him with a question. I just thought it was funny. But
I just got all this energy after looking at that toad, man.
But the question she asks is essentially like, if you didn't want to be this, but everyone told you that you had to be, like, how would you choose? Like, would you have done something different, or would you have kind of gone along with what everyone said you had to be? Right? Because that's kind of her struggle right now, is she doesn't feel like what she wants to be and what the kingdom seems to think she needs to be match up. And I think there's some truth to that. I mean, there's two sides of the coin. I think part of what we're going to learn is that the kingdom is kind of doesn't really know what Zelda is supposed to be entirely, put it that way. And they don't understand that what she wants to be can line up with that. Like they don't necessarily conflict. And that's like my hot take at this point, because I think we'll get more in depth with that later on. But for her right now, it's this very binary conflict of like everybody wants me to be this. I don't feel like that's not, it just doesn't feel natural. It's not working. I mean, it goes right back to the first memory of her doing this whole ceremony and just being like super drony about it, you know, like she didn't want to do it, aside from the fact that she was upset with Link's reminder of her failures. Like, even if it wasn't for that, like, there's other ways that could have been how she expressed herself. And one of the major ones is like, this just isn't me, you know, like none of this feels right. And quite honestly, like the question of, do we even need the ceremonies? Like, that's a good question to ask because maybe there's so much tradition that the kingdom has kind of thrown onto this, like onto these roles that they have for Zelda and Link, that it's just like, it's completely lost the point of it all, you know, like having all of these ceremonies. It's like there was never a ceremony for knighting Link back in the Ocarina of Time days, right? Like, he just came out of the forest and did the thing. That's a weird thing to bring up now, but you know, like it just seems like the whole thing has been kind of clouded by these weird rituals.
Yeah, I agree. I do like got a parent drop though in that.
Yeah,
we find out Link's father was a cool knight who she actually didn't know or say if he was like one of the best or anything about him, just that he was a knight.
Kakui.
He could have been a lousy knight. But if he is a prodigy,
I remember
he probably was a nice knight.
I once saw a tweet that talked about Link having a father and a sister. And the whole thing was based on in the Creating a Champion book, but only in the Japanese version. There was like this little piece of concept art on the back, like inside the back cover of like a family picture with Link, an older dude who kind of looks like Master Smith from Minish Cap, and a sister who kind of resembles Aryll a little bit, but you know, maybe a little bit older. And you know, it was just concept art. Like, it never became part of the actual story. It was never kind of brought into canon. I mean, the fact that he has a father who was also a knight, like that tracks. But like, it just reminds me of that, of like, it's like, oh, you had a family. It's like, okay, what's the significance? Like the Link's family always seems to get iced way before the story starts. Nobody really mentions it.
Gets iced.
If not before the story starts, definitely happened pre-Calamity or with post-Calamity.
Yeah, it'd be wild if there was somewhere in the game, like I don't know, like maybe he's buried in the Sheikah graveyard or something. We just don't know.
I think just what I want to add to this would be, I guess, confidence in that even though Link has all of these things being shoved on him by everybody, you have to be this, you have to do this. Link doesn't, I mean, he doesn't talk, but it seems like he doesn't let that force him down into a specific shape. Like if everybody's going, you got to be a square, here's a square shape right there. Link says, I don't really care what you want me to be. I'm going to be a little rectangular because that's just how I am.
Mm-hmm.
But like Zelda doesn't have the confidence yet to say, I will be everything you want me to be, but I'm going to do it in my own way. She still feels like she's being forced to be the exact thing that she needs to be, even though there is some room. Like everybody has individuality, and that's everybody can be what they need to be, but you can still be yourself while being that thing. Link seems to fit right into that and understands that and doesn't have an issue with that whatsoever. But Zelda right now is very much so struggling with the concept of keeping her own individuality while also being what she needs to be.
Yeah. I think that's something that, like, this is gonna sound really weird and like kind of dumb, but it's more of just a personal example. I mean, just even like working like at the, you know, at just taking it from my own life, right? Like the job that I work, I deal with a bunch of different departments within the company that I'm at, right? And what you learn is that what everybody wants on a project isn't actually what they need on the project. So it comes down to a lot of boiling down, like, okay, like what is your actual list of needs? Let's hit those, and all of the other detail that that people would like to be able to control and make a certain way. It's like a lot of that stuff just has to flex and give to meet the need, because they're not the only ones with needs, right? So like the whole kingdom has needs, right? Like they need someone to channel the goddess. And that's pretty much it. Like, they don't really need the ceremonies. They don't really need like all of the craziness that goes along with that they've added. They just need like divine help with this divine problem. But they're not willing to accept that should be something that Zelda kind of grows into on her own and does her own way. They're like, no, you have to do it the traditional way. That, I don't know, maybe there was a pattern of it working in the past, but it's not going to work this time, you know?
They're suffocating her with her own role.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so cool. The next one. Ooh, this is where things get spicy. This is Father and Daughter is the name of this one. So
this is spicy.
Yo, can I run to the bathroom real quick, though?
Yeah, all right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, so Father and Daughter. Let me just go ahead and swap on over to Mirrorbox. Get the
Father and Daughter.
And we will roll that footage.
Action.
She's so happy to see that thing. She's watching a sunset or something.
Incredible. We're at a point now where we can actually control them. At the current rate, we'll soon know all we need to know about the Guardians and the Divine Beasts. And should Ganon ever show itself again, we'll be well positioned to defend ourselves.
What are you doing out here, Zelda?
He's bowing already.
I was assessing the results of the experiment with the Guardians. These pieces of ancient technology could be quite useful against...
I know that. They are essential to Hyrule's future, and our research demands that we keep a close eye on them. However, as the princess, you currently have a crucial unfulfilled responsibility to your kingdom. let me ask you once more. When will you stop treating this as some sort of childish game?
I'm doing everything I can. I'll have you know that I just recently returned from the Spring of Courage, where I offered every ounce of my prayers to the goddess.
And now you are here wasting your time. You need to be dedicating every moment you have to your training. You must be single-minded in unlocking the power that will seal Calamity Ganon away.
I already am. Don't you see? There's nothing more I can do. My hope is that you'll allow me to contribute here in whatever way I can.
No more excuses, Zelda. Stop running away from your duty. As the king, I forbid you to have anything to do with these machines from this moment on, and command you to focus on your training.
I hate that camera angle.
Do you know how the gossip mongers refer to you? They are out there at this moment, whispering amongst themselves that you are the heir to a throne of nothing but failure.
What kind of statement is that?
It is woven into your destiny.
Dudes down there's Robbie.
To prove them wrong. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Talk about failing at a role. My man doesn't know how to be a dad to save his life.
Talk about failure with camera angles. Who's the director?
Well, okay. It's supposed to be like a metaphor for his overbearing attitude in this moment. So like they have his huge legs with Zelda standing in between, like he's as if he's towering over her or something, But it looks so corny. I hate it.
It does.
That's just a personal opinion. I'm not the director of cinematography or photography or whatever. So whatever. But yeah, no, this is the case in point of the tradition versus the needs. I mean, this dude talking about inheriting a throne of nothing but failure. I mean, like, that sounds like a personal problem, bro. It's your throne currently.
Yeah.
I think maybe how Zelda was projecting her insecurities to Link in the very beginning, I think he might be projecting his own insecurities of ruling the kingdom onto Zelda right there.
Yeah, and maybe that's an inherited character flaw.
It's a cycle. So who's Link gonna project onto then? The frog?
my guy. you had me about to actually think about that question.
I mean, he can't project onto
before I
anything.
realized what you said. Like, who is Link gonna project onto? And like, wait a minute, no. Never mind. Link doesn't do that. So yeah, no, this was overly harsh and overbearing, and like he's kind of blind to the fact that, I mean, we know the Guardians turn, right? Like they turn towards Ganon. Part of me is like, yo, like what if you just let Zelda research? What if she was the one who would find like the vulnerability that allowed Ganon to take them over and prevented that from happening? Like they just don't. There's no, what do you call it? There's no flexibility there. Like there's no open-mindedness whatsoever. Like he wants her to be single-minded, which is like perfectly the definition of like, I don't want you thinking, I just want you doing. Like, yeah. And the only thing I want you doing is this one thing, and it's overbearing. I want you 24-hour cycle. Like if you're not sleeping, you're praying. It's like, yo.
Everything he just says is so wrong. Like, everybody knows, even if you're studying to be the best at something, you can't do it nonstop. You have to take breaks. If you keep doing it, you wear yourself out. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So he's literally saying, wear yourself out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want you focused on this so much you lose track of it and yourself.
Yeah. It's like, this is crunch time. Burn yourself out, please.
And then he brings up the whispers of other people. Mr. King, I'm sure there are plenty of people that have their things to say about you as well. So you're going to bring up the negative whisperings of the kingdom about your daughter to her face? Like,
the
and you're trying to
gossip mongers.
encourage her with this? Like, all you're going to do is beat her down like a hammer.
If you repeat
Bam, bam, bam.
If you repeat what a gossip monger says, you're a gossip monger. just throw that out there. Like, why?
Everything
why
he
are
says
you
in this is wrong,
participating
in my
the
opinion.
gossip?
No, it's completely wrong. Something that stood out to me was before King Rome stepped out, when she said that they'll be ready for when Ganon strikes again. And it got me thinking, was this the calamity like 10,000 years before that? Or was this something very recent? He had like a little, light attack or something that he did.
I don't know. I think the only legend that we hear about is the 10,000 years ago and then the 100 years ago. So I don't know that there are any more. I mean, there might have been other ones in between, but we don't hear about them a whole lot, I mean,
It's just the way she said it. She said, like, we'll be ready this time. Like they weren't before,
I don't have.
I think they're talking about what happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because like any other time that he could have attacked, like even if you assumed in that one of the last memories we saw where he just defeated all those Lionels and the Bokoblins, and she's like, oh, it seems to be getting like they're reacting to something. They were still able to handle that. And I assume if they weren't able to handle it, we would have, the situation that we're working towards.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So are you guys ready for the next one then? Because this one's going to be kind of like the result of this horrible change in direction that we just were given. All right. So let me do my swap over. My really clumsy swap over. I wish we had a better method of doing this.
Slop over.
Make a swoosh.
And we will roll that footage.
I come seeking help regarding this power that has been handed down over time. Prayer will awaken my power to seal Ganon away. Or so I've been told all my life. And yet, Grandmother heard them. The voices from the spirit realm. And Mother said her own power would develop within me. But I don't hear or feel anything. Father has told me time and time again. He always says, quit wasting your time playing at being a scholar.
Yikes.
Curse you. I've spent every day of my life dedicated to praying. I've pleaded to the spirits tied to the ancient gods. And still the holy powers have proven deaf to my devotion. Please, just tell me. What is it? What's wrong with me?
Oh, the pain. All right.
I know what's going on.
Yeah?
At least my take on it. So, if she would have went to the spring, was that the Courage? Spring of Courage? Or is it Power? I don't remember exactly.
That's the Spring of Power that she's at right there.
All right. So if she would have went to the Spring of Power before, when we, probably around the time she was excited about this adventure with Link and the freedom that she had and the belief that they could stop this. When Link and her were sitting down with the Lionels, when she was like, we can do this. She had that just belief in herself, in Link, in the situation, and there was no doubts. And I think that if they went to the spring at that exact moment, I think she would have had a breakthrough. But since she just had this, terrible time with her father, she has the doubts again. And so the gods are like, you're not ready, basically.
Okay.
At least my take.
No, I mean, I think that's reasonable. I think I agree that she probably would have had a better shot when she was more positive about things, I guess. But to me, it sounds like she's been trying to like spend at least some of her time in prayer, like going to these different shrines. I don't know if this was the first one that she went to. I mean, and in terms of actually going to the spring, it almost seems like going to these springs is like her last, like most extreme measure to try to get this to work. Excuse me. But yeah, I don't know for sure. Like it's really strange. Like to me, this on its own, out of context, just seems like somebody who's really struggling with their faith in general. Like she is coming at this from a very like, I'm doing all the right things. Why am I not getting the right results? But it's very much about the ritual. It's very much about the do's, and it's not about the actual like spirituality of it. And I think like that kind of goes along with what you're saying. Like when she had this more positive attitude, when she was like had hope, right? Rather than having like this bitterness towards her father and like just kind of being angry. Like she's kind of thrown right back into that emotional way of being that we saw at the beginning of this memories thing. Like if anything, she was probably on a really good trajectory until the king came and like kind of smacked their chances out of the air with his garbage.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really hard for someone to kind of stay positive when you have something like that going on in the background. But yeah, it's like, it's funny because like she mentions her grandmother could hear the spirits, the voices, and her mother had some kind of power because she said that she told Zelda that her own power, like the power would develop in her as well. But if her grandmother could hear spirits and her mother doesn't mention that, like maybe it manifested different in each woman in the lineage, you know? So maybe they shouldn't be expecting the exact same thing to happen with Zelda. Maybe they should be expecting a different kind of manifestation of the goddess, like,
or it's just not her time yet,
or that. And we're gonna find out a little bit about that too, which is kind of interesting.
My thought, or how I visualize the matter, would be, so essentially she's trying to see results. So we're going to say that there's some grass and you have a magnifying glass. The magnifying glass is like you. That's your person. That's your identity. That's yourself. And the spirituality is like the light above you. That's the sun. And you're trying to, through yourself, trying to focus it onto the grass to burn it to give the results that you want. And kind of like what Anthony said, when she was prepared at one point, when she was all there, when she wasn't doubting herself, when she was fully within herself, maybe she would have had a breakthrough at that point, but there's a doubt that's clouding the magnifying glass. And that's why it can't properly focus the rays to give the results that she's looking for. She has to first purify herself and come into herself fully before what's outside of her can go through her to get the results that she wants.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that part of it is the fact that she is so focused on the results too. Like she's approaching this in a really calculated way. And I think that is, again, just it's like a side effect of the cloudiness, you know, like that's part of like the fact that she's going through this turmoil right now, is that she's trying to just like do the quick fix. Like I'm here, like, why won't you listen to me? She gets so mad. She like curses Hylia for the life that she has. Like she's completely gone the opposite direction on why she came here in the first place. It's like she doesn't even, it's like she clearly doesn't have a heart that says, I believe in you and I want help. It's like, you kind of ruined my life. And why won't you just help us as in general? Like, forget about you and me. Like, just make this happen the way you're supposed to, you know? I don't know. There's a lot of struggle there.
Yeah, that was a good analogy, Cam. I like that, the cloudiness. It's a shadow over her mind.
You gotta adjust your lens of truth. All right. So the next one is a trip to Mount Lanayru. And I don't know if they even make it, honestly, but we'll run the footage. Hold on. Trying to do commentary before we've even done the footage. What are you doing? All right. Roll it.
Be sure to take the time to soothe your mount. That's the only way it will know how you truly feel. Your advice was quite helpful, thank you. This little one and I are getting along quite well now. At first, I wasn't sure if I should outfit him with all of the royal gear. I thought maybe he should have to earn it first.
Ew.
But it works. He wears it like a true natural. I'm trying to be a bit more empathetic. Benefit of the doubt, you know?
I think I jumped again with that ill. I'll explain later.
See that mountain? That's Mount Lanayru. It takes its name from the goddess of wisdom. Lanayru's decree is very specific. It says no one is allowed under the age of 17. For only the wise are permitted a place upon the mountain. I've prayed at the spring of courage and at the spring of power, yet neither awoke anything inside me. But maybe up there. Perhaps the spring of wisdom, the final of the three, will be the one. To be honest, I have no real reason to think that will be the case. But there's always the chance that the next moment will change everything. Tomorrow is my 17th birthday. So then I shall go and make my way up the mountain.
Okay. Go she shall. So yeah. So some interesting things. First off, she's taking advice from Link, who clearly had to
can't
speak.
talk.
He had to speak to tell her that, to give her that advice. Not the point I was gonna make, but the point about I was unsure if I wanted to give the horse all the royal gear. Thought maybe he should earn it first, right? It's like it just kind of goes along with maybe I should treat the horse the way everybody gets treated in this kingdom. you gotta earn your emblems, you know. And then she's like, well, I'm trying to be more empathetic and give the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, it's just it's kind of a clear statement about how she's been, I don't know, I think it's cool. It's showing that, not only is there character development, but she's actively, thinking about it. She's actively, I'm trying to be more empathetic. I see this in myself, and I want to grow in this area, and, understand that not everything has to be won with some great labor. We can just trust and know that things will be okay and be good. So,
and it also kind of seems like she's trying to get away from her dad's influence again in this, where he needs to see the results from her to the point where he's pushing her to her breaking point and kind of clouding the glass, as I said before. He's putting doubt in her where she doesn't need it, and if he would just back off, she might just be fine and not be having any of these issues. And she's trying to give other things, like you said, the space that her dad's not giving her, instead of taking it out on Link like she was in the beginning, because it's happened to her, and kind of that cycle of hatred, cycle of abuse, whatever you want to say. She's trying to break that within herself, and she realizes that she needs to. So it's showing that she's trying. There's that character development.
She's trying to work against some generational trauma.
Yeah. Some parental trauma.
Yeah. So then So then we get this bit about Mount Lanayru and how she's been to 2 of the 3 springs so far, but she's very specifically not allowed to go to this last one until she's 17, because only someone who is wise is allowed to go there.
Yeah, because everyone's for sure wise at 17.
Well, listen. Sometimes you gotta speak to your audience, man, and
Yeah.
target demographic. Target demographic. Them wise 17-year-olds. No, but quite honestly, like, somebody posed this question on again going back to the Awful Bird app. Somebody kind of asked this question, posed it. It was like, hey, like, why 17? Like, why is it just an arbitrary number that was picked? My first thought was like, maybe it's an Ocarina of Time thing. Like, Link couldn't be the hero until he was 17. Which led to an entire discussion about how the developers on Ocarina of Time weren't really sure what age Link was going to be. In different interviews, different numbers have been thrown around. Like, he was supposed to age up to 20, which was like, I'm like, there's no way he was 13 when he was Kid Link, but I've always seen him as 10 to 17. Like, that's just always been my understanding of it, but I guess different developers had different ideas about how old he actually was, because it's never stated in game. So that's still kind of like, to me, that fits, that feels right. But then again, I'm a huge Ocarina of Time nerd, so what do I, that's like my favorite game. So of course I would put everything back into that scope. So maybe that has nothing to do with it. Maybe it's just like, maybe they did just pick arbitrarily. Like, this is generally internationally considered like a good milestone towards adulthood. I know that in the country that we live in, TV like kind of has specific age rulings for like 14, 17, 18, which is really silly, but 17 is kind of a big step. I don't know. But anyway, there's an age limit on this mountain. And she's kind of looking forward to this day when she can make it up the mountain. But at the same time, she's kind of like, she's got this very concerned, almost like, not dread, but like, you can tell that she seems to have like an understanding that hitting that age and going to that spring is somehow like, it could be the ultimate failure. Like, it could be like her last thing that she has to try, and she's just not sure that it's going to work because nothing else has worked. So she's like, it's almost time for me to do this last thing. And you can just tell that she still has her doubts, even though the rest of her statement sounded really hopeful. So yeah, you guys have any more thoughts on that stuff?
No.
Cool. No. Let's go to the next one.
Sorry, I was distracted. I was reading. I was trying to find like things that were significant about just
being 17.
17.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And personally, I don't think so.
And I think the coolest thing I found in what I was just kind of going through was that it's called Plutarch's Moralia. It's an Egyptian legend of Osiris's life. Basically, the age 17th on the 17th of a month is basically what the Pythagoreans call the barrier. Is when you get past 17, it's when the full moon of your life is over and your eye opens up. Kinda. Like, Zelda's eyes. No, that's all I could find. I thought it was cool, but nothing to do with Zelda.
Some mythological background on age 17. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting if nothing else. All right, cool.
Happy third eye opening day.
There you go. So the next one is called The Return of Calamity Ganon. If that is a spoiler, I'm sorry. It's going to be up on the screen in just a minute. So, All right, let's roll it. There's the Mount Lanayru. There's the archway. It already looks destroyed. I would have thought that 100 years ago it might have looked a little better, but I guess that's like a more of a 100,000-year-old structure.
Well, don't keep us in suspense. How'd everything go up there on the mountain?
Not good.
So you didn't feel anything? No power at all?
I'm sorry, no.
Then let's move on. You've done all you could. Feeling sorry for yourself won't be of any help. After all, it's not like your last shot was up there on Mount Lineru. Anything could finally spark the power to seal Ganon away. We just have to keep looking for that thing.
That's kind of you. Thank you.
If I may, I thought you... Well, I'm not sure how to put this into words. I'm actually quite embarrassed to say it. But I was thinking about what I do when I'm healing. You know, what usually goes through my mind. It helps when I think about...
Here.
This is it, then.
Are you sure?
Positive.
It's awake. Ganon.
Trial by fire now.
Let's stop wasting time. We're gonna need everything we got to take that thing down. Now,
Luke is familiar with
champions,
trial by
to
fire.
your divine beasts, show that swirling swine who's boss. Link will need to meet Ganon head-on when we attack. This needs to be a unified assault. Little guy, you get to Hyrule Castle. You can count on us for support, but it's up to you to pound Ganon into oblivion.
Come, we should go. We need to get you someplace safe.
No. I'm not a child anymore. I may not be much use on the battlefield.
Okay.
But there must be something I can do to help.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Pretty
So,
solid cutscene.
Pretty solid cutscene. I mean, this is where everything's kind of... This is where the real test begins, right?
The heart starts pumping.
No, I mean, I think... yeah, I mean, she goes to the last place, comes back, did not work. She's very sad. I don't know why they went in, like, they're not bundled up at all, and I know that mountain's cold. So, like, just a side note, quick side note.
They had a sizzling stir fry on the way up there.
Just drank some elixirs. It was all good. But yeah, they come back down, and it's just kind of a big disappointment. But you know, we get some encouraging words from. Oh gosh, for what?
From Urbosa.
From Urbosa, yeah. Who's like, you know, anything could spark it. That wasn't really your final shot. And you know, Zelda says that it's kind, but she kind of, you can tell how she feels about it. Link can also tell how she feels about it. There was a very solid expression on Link's face when he heard Urbosa say that, and looking over at Zelda, kind of, he's like,
yeah, she's dejected.
Like he knew that wasn't going to be like that helpful of a statement. And then Mipha starts to kind of chip in on what helps her with her power. And it's very heavily implied that she thinks about the boy she had a crush on when she's healing. And who knows why that would help. Maybe there's like a, you know, spike of some positive emotions, some positive feelings that kind of helps with the spirit of healing. But just an interesting thing to kind of throw in right at the wire, because then the castle breaks loose, and we see Ganon in his full piggy cloud kind of flying around. Daruk, Papa Daruk,
swirling swine,
jumps right into action, giving up a pep talk about how we're gonna go show that swirling swine who's boss. But has the whole game plan, even though everybody knows the game plan. He's like, hey, like, okay, now's the time to act, not the time to stand and like gawk at this thing. Like, we need to get going and do this thing. To which Urbosa's like, let's get you somewhere safe, Zelda. And Zelda's like, no, I'm not a child anymore. Stands out to me because it's like your 17th birthday. And I'm wondering if that's where that came from, of like, I've reached highly in adulthood, like as a 17-year-old, like I get to make my own decisions now. I don't know, just kind of a funny, just stands out to me.
Funnily enough, she's kind of being a little childish in that she's holding up the entire group at that moment to go, I'm not a kid anymore. I can help. I can do it. And everyone's like, oh, we should probably be moving right now. Like big guy there said, but instead we're all just sitting here like, oh, what do we do with the girl that needs to feel important right now? She should have just went on her way and maybe thought about it to herself while she was going. That would have been the mature thing to do because everyone's needed to be doing the thing right now. But she kind of stops everybody, which shows that she is still a little immature.
Well, I mean, she definitely did have to voice that she wasn't going to go with Urbosa, but to make the big show of like, I'm not a kid anymore, like maybe that's a little overkill.
I think,
but I mean,
if she was that mature, I think this scene would have played out where everybody kind of split up, like, and everyone split up. And then as she's walking away, she kind of like says to Urbosa, like, I'm not a kid anymore. There must be something more I can do. But instead, she spoke out and kind of delayed the entire group, is how I see it. And that was kind of not really. I don't know. That's just what I see when I watch.
I mean, I think, okay, kind of stepping outside the scene here. I think that this is just for dramatic effect. I mean, I think that the only reason that she did that wasn't to really show her character. You know, that was more of like a storytelling decision. Like everybody's on the same page with this idea. Like everybody heard it. Everybody knows now how she feels. I don't think it's that. I mean, she delayed them maybe 20 seconds. I don't think.
Every second counts.
Every second
That's
counts.
The piggy of doom up there. That's the doom piggy.
With your childish like sermons over here.
I'm not saying that it shows that she hasn't changed or matured as a person whatsoever. I'm saying that to me that still shows that there's a little room for improvement.
Oh yeah, I mean, one day, come on, she was 16 yesterday. Like, birthdays don't actually mean all that much. I don't know if
it's everything,
buddy. If y'all disagree with that, but yeah. All right.
So my question about that whole scene is hike team break. Urbosa needs to run like a full 13K to get to her divine beast. No wonders they lost. Mipha and they're in Mount Lanayru, so that's not that far, but Revali's got to fly halfway across the map. But maybe it's not that. Maybe it's not that tiring for him. Daruk has to climb at least 3 mountains and go through Akala.
Daruk's gonna roll for sure. He's gonna pull out them skills from when he was a toddler and just start.
Urbosa needs to run a 13K to get back to her divine beast. Like, jeez.
Yeah,
not a good time to be caught out there.
What we do know is they
channels her electricity and runs really fast.
Because otherwise they wouldn't have been there to get murked. but
she got there. Get back. She's just like, and then Thunderblight Ganon comes out. She's like, hold on.
One thing I don't understand is why all these characters are actually here, because every other time it's just been Link and Zelda going to these places. It's like they all kind of went to show their support, I guess, for her on her last spring. I don't know. It seemed weird that they were all grouped up and then like Ganon comes back while they're all away from their hometowns. You know, like it's a little too convenient. But
Ganon was waiting for it.
It's all saying the same thing. All right. So the next one is called Despair. So we're starting to really get in the thick of it now. You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Sad stuff.
Maybe. All right, let's roll that footage. I like how we're doing this all real time.
It's pretty nice.
How did it come to this? The divine beasts, the guardians, they've all turned against us. It was Calamity Ganon. It turned them all against us. And everyone, Mifa, Urbosa, Rivali, and Daruk, they're all trapped inside those things. It's all my fault. Our only hope for defeating Ganon is lost, all because I couldn't harness this cursed power. Everything I've done up until now, it was all for nothing. So I really am just a failure. All my friends, the entire kingdom, my father most of all. I tried and I failed them all.
Did she just say her father most of all?
I left them all to die.
Yep.
Oh, goodness. All right. The heaviness.
Sucks when stuff don't work out.
Yeah. So I mean, clearly she's blaming herself for everything right now. Which, I mean, isn't a very helpful attitude in this moment. Not to be critical, but I mean, what I'm saying is like, she's kind of beating herself up more than she needs to. Like she tried a lot and she's just kind of like, I'm such a failure. I mean, I think a lot of this shows just how much weight was put on her by the people around her. And I mean, like, even that statement of like, I failed everyone, she names everybody and then says, especially my father, which is rough because, like, as we've seen, he was the hardest on her and he was already pretty much calling her a failure before any of this happened. And it kind of shows that she still has that pain. Like, she still kind of carries that with her. Like, she has not gotten over. And I mean, how could you in the short amount of time she's had? Like, she has not gotten over just
She's 17 now.
I know she's 17, but like clearly the pain from her 16th year still affecting her, and it's like, yeah, no, she's just, I mean, even Link is here like, yo, like we're kind of in this together and there's nothing we can do about what just happened. But I mean, that's how I kind of read his reaction to this, of just kind of like being there for her, but at the same time he's like, we need to keep moving. She's just like really going through it, having to I don't know, because right now it doesn't say where they're headed, but from what we know, they're kind of making their way towards Hateno, and they're in a forest, like somewhere south of the kingdom, like south of the castle town, like along the river. So I mean, I don't know if that's important, but you can just feel it. Like this is named despair, and accurately so. Like she had to take a moment just to like let out this despair that she has about this whole situation and how she puts it all on herself.
I think for me, what would have made this scene more powerful was if they added some more emotion to Link's like demeanor at the end there when she fell. I think if like his eyes kind of like deepened, like, you know, like a determined face, like he was like, you know, I'm gonna go out doing what I can, or even just a tear, like one tear.
One tear.
I think it would have Tears of the Kingdom, man. I think it would have added a lot more power to the scene, just to have like something from Link.
Cam, what does the podcast think about this one?
She's angry at Calamity Ganon right now, taking it out on me.
All right. Yeah, I think a little bit more responsiveness from Link would have been helpful. I mean, we always go through how like he's one of those silent heroes that we're supposed to kind of project ourselves onto. So whatever we're feeling is what, he's supposed to be available to also be feeling that. So that's why they usually give him the poker face, so that you can just imagine, okay, he's feeling this, but he just isn't showing it because he's Link, So I get that. I mean, there's been a few expressions they've given him. They definitely could have done more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the real weight of this, I mean, not the real weight, but like you can tell things are really like building up to a conclusion here, and it's not necessarily a happy one. Because they just lost a lot of characters off screen all at once. But yeah, if you guys are ready, we can close this guy out with our final one. There is one more that we're not going to talk about, the Master Sword memory, where that's Zelda taking the Master Sword back to the Deku Tree.
We've seen that,
but we've already talked about that one. So in the in-between, here is our final recovered memory. I will throw it up on screen. Hold on. All right, we will roll it. So this is them outside of Fort Ateno in the Black Tree Plain. Link is pretty wiped.
Go! I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Run!
He can barely stand. Shoot it, Link. Oh.
Was that the power? No.
You guys hear that Zelda's lullaby going on?
Link, get up! You're doing just fine. The sword. So he can still be saved.
Princess!
Sorry, the way he yells that.
Princess, are you all right?
Take Link to the Shrine of Resurrection. If you don't get him there immediately, we are going to lose him forever. Is that clear? So make haste and go. His life is now in your hands.
So I want to let it be known before we start talking about this cutscene that I don't remember exactly if it was in a notebook or if someone like Robbie or someone said it, but Link's like kill count right there before he fell was over 100 Guardians.
Yeah, Robbie does talk about that, about how Link just kind of cleaned house with them Guardians before
over
that
100 Guardians in Black Cherry Plains. Can you imagine fighting 100 Guardians? Like if it was like gameplay.
Yeah, like no wonder he couldn't stand anymore. He was just exhausted from the sheer marathon of it. It's really funny how they make that point of like he's not weaker than Guardians. Like don't be fooled. Like that's not the problem here. The problem is he's done way too much. And he's just like wiped. But yeah, a lot of things happen in a very short amount of time with this one. So like we saw, like Link is exhausted. He's about to get shot by a guardian when suddenly the power of Hylia awakens within Zelda. And what's the trigger? If not desperation? It definitely seems like just because of the sheer need, for this to happen, has caused this intervention to happen at this moment. Like, she's so attached to Link, more so than, as far as we know, anyone else in Hyrule at this point. Like, Link seems to be her only actual friend who's not like there on business, aside from maybe Urbosa. But even with that, Urbosa's more of like a mother figure, more of a mentor. She's not really like a friend. So when this is happening, it just seems to be like the kick that she really needs to understand, like, oh no, like there are real deep personal like things happening right now, even beyond the despair in the woods. And suddenly like this power kind of gets triggered within her. One cool thing about that is that not only does it deactivate the guardians, but it seems to clean them of their malice. Like, you see like the red smoke kind of pop out of each one as it goes down. And then they're able to kind of address some other lines of business, namely Link is getting transported to the Shrine of Resurrection. Also, Zelda had that moment with the sword where literally like sound effects ripped from Skyward Sword were kind of used to imply that Fee is there, still talking to her the same way Hylia and Fee would have had communication before. And I mean, we got a little bit of that from the Master Sword memory that we talked about before as well. But it just kind of points back to that. It just seems like everything, not just the Triforce power that she uses, but also the abilities, such as the ability to hear the ancient voice in the sword, is coming to her now. Now she can hear the ancient spirits, So lot of cool things. Also, she takes charge when those two Sheikah come up there. Like, she actually starts giving some directives and like starts, she's like delegating some tasks. Like, she's very much coming into her being the way that, the Legend of Zelda being the title of the game would imply. Like, she is becoming herself. So it's a really cool scene.
I think desperation is definitely the key word. And that not only is Link probably the person that she's closest to, but she's essentially just lost everybody else. Yeah. Her mother figure, her literal father, everybody else that was there giving her encouragement are all gone right now. She's just, to her, she might never see them again, ever. And Link is literally like the last thing of her life that she can cling to. And it's about to be taken away.
Yeah. Huge moment. One thing that I've also seen, just a little bit more trivia, just to kind of add on to this situation, is that when Link is collapsing, and she says like, you're going to be all right, right before he kind of goes out for real. I guess in just about every other language this game has been translated to or from, like even in the Japanese, like she the phrase that she says in that moment is "please don't die." Like, it's very much more realistic to what's happening than to kind of reassure him that he's going to be okay. And it's just like, it's so heavy because like that's kind of what's happening. Like, he's going down. Like, he's exhausted. Like, he's beyond the point of, he's given everything. He literally left it all on the field. Like, my dude stood up one last time and expended the last of his energy doing so. Just complete and utter expense of himself. So, just an interesting thing. Apparently, that got censored in America. Don't know why. There's a lot of other death in this game. It seems really weird for her to not be able to say "please don't die" in that moment. But I think it fits a little bit better with how she's feeling and how that showing that desperation as well. So. So this is, I mean, that's the story, y'all. Like, that's the story mainly of Zelda, of Link and Zelda's relationship. We've seen the other ones kind of as we've taken on Divine Beasts and whatnot, but it's kind of funny that the whole Lost Memories really focuses on Link and Zelda and kind of their relationship specific. So, I don't know. I mean, I actually like doing the landscape puzzle thing. I mean, the first time doing it, I think I was probably a little more frustrated. This time is like, I had a good idea of where everything was already, so it was a little bit nicer to go through. But also the rapid fire, like seeing them all just kind of in order, not like you see one and then do like a whole exploration, then see another. Like with everything fresh, it kind of shows you the whole story a little bit better. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this, movie night format, so that we could actually look at the story as a whole. And I think it helps because I think even early on, or I don't know if it was last season or the transition episode, somebody made the joke that like Zelda was just kind of beefing it the whole time. Like she was just terrible, like this whole game. And I'm like, yeah, but she does grow. Like she starts out in a really bad place and she kind of has to grow into this character, which is really cool. I mean, all the best stories I feel like include some kind of change or character growth. So Groose, kind of like with Groose. Groose was a little different, but I think once you see the whole thing together, it actually tells a really cool story about these two characters and their relationship going through what is essentially a build up to this whole thing.
We see the Ocarina of Time Zelda basically already is aware of her powers. She already is trained in the arts of Sheikah. She's already aware that she can do Goddess Hylia's power, the Golden Light and Nehru's love, and Link is the one who has no clue what he's doing at all. And then like to do the flip side, this is the exact opposite of that. And it's cool to see kind of that side. Yeah. Where Link is just a complete I got none. I got none to replace that.
The complete package.
the whole package.
Getting caboodle.
Yeah. No, it's definitely cool.
I think seeing them in order helps a lot too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because before it was definitely just like, I'm running around. Oh, look, a glowy spot. Oh, cool, that happened.
Right?
But like seeing it all
always in order either. You just kind of like wing it, and sometimes you just happen upon them randomly, and it makes it really confusing. But yeah, and I'm excited because when we get to the Champions Ballad episodes, which are coming up next, we'll actually see a little bit more of this story as well as some more of the like the individual champion stories. So with this context in mind, it'll really help us out with those, I think. So but yeah, those will be our next set of episodes. So if you guys don't mind, I think we've had a great time tonight doing this movie night, but I think it's time to close it out.
Agreed.
All right, so thank you all for listening. This has been our episode of A for No, B for Yes. Yeah, that was our Lost Memories quest. Next few episodes we'll be conquering the Champions Ballad. We haven't determined our pathing through that yet, but I'm sure we will as a group, and we might even post up about it when we get there. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. If you want to reach out to us, you can do that through our social links. We always link our website in the description, so you can catch us there. So join us next time for A for No, B for Yes.
Audience, did you get all that? No? Okay. Break time.
I'm not actually going to stop the recording. I'm just going to let it run.
Nap time. You know, I think this is good. I'm excited to see our analysis of this trailer, and then, well, not this trailer, I'm sorry. This analysis of this, like, video that we're doing with Zelda and Link, and then I want to see how their relationship grows in Tears of the Kingdom from this game.
Yeah.
See, like, you know, it's nice to see where they came from, where Zelda came from, and then kind of like to see their relationship is like really close from what we've seen in the trailers of Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm excited to see how that works.
Yeah, I'm wondering, because I mean, it seems like just, and we'll see when we get to the end of this one, that they're able to work together a lot better. You know, I mean, clearly we're already kind of at that point, but we're gonna see kind of how this all ends out, and I think it will be. It's good to have this backstory in mind, because I'm pretty sure from what we've seen in the trailers, the next game they start out working together again. So we'll have the context of how that works and why. So that'd be cool.
It'd be nice for the character growth in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's a lot of preset story that now we have. We don't have to, like, flashback to